Good evening to everyone watching us. You're once again with the webinar of Sirma Group Holding so that they may present the quarterly result, Q1 results for the year 2016. First of all, I would like to congratulate them for something that was just a wishful thinking tradition. Now it is a tradition, and this company has managed to pioneer a consistent and regular communication with their investors as usual. The executive director of the holding, Mr. Tsvetan Alexiou, is going to present the results. With us, we have the financial director of Sirma Group, which is Mrs. Radka Penova. Your questions during the presentation can be emailed ir@sirma.com or by Skype, Sirma IR. Thank you. This is our program for growth and innovation. Yes, indeed. We are only finally reporting our results, but the problem was that we had to organize some general meetings, and it is a little bit difficult to manage with all these things that we are expected to carry out as a public company. At the same time, though, the key target, aim, and mission of a company is to chase its business. So it's better late than never. And after all, once we have promised to carry out these regular webinars, we are doing that. So first and foremost, I would like to briefly tell you what the results are for Q1, which of course we have already published. Q1 was good for companies within the Sirma Group because we managed to attain revenue of 8.265 million leva, which is a very substantial growth as compared to last year. We have 68% growth of EBITDA, and the asset growth is 9.39%. The growth of equity is 11.55%, and also we have less interest-bearing liabilities. Of course, in the presentation, which will be published on the site and which I'm already showing you, however, just cursorily, that is, I'm not going to enter into minute details about each and every slide. We have prepared the data, the key financial data for Q1 as compared the quarters in previous years. We have also prepared and we are providing financial data for the companies, again, as compared to last year, same period. Here, I should just accentuate on the achievements of different companies, such as Sirma ITT, which managed 242% growth. Sirma Solutions, which is the largest company within the group, the family, which is 93% plus. Sirma USA, 83%. Envio Systems, again, a very good growth of 42%. Ontotext USA with 41% growth. Sirma Business Consulting, 70%. Daticom, 3%. And we have some decrease in Sirma Group Holding, but since this is the holding company and it practically carries out no sales, instead it is purely the administrator and a strategy drawer for the entire family. This is something else. And there is some decrease in the revenue of Ontotext, minus 23%. The EBITDA growth, Sirma Solutions, 980%. Envio Systems, 880%, Sirma US, 376%, Daticom, 16%. We also have some decrease again for the EBITDA for Ontotext, Sirma Business Consulting, Sirma Group Holding, and Sirma ITT. So growth, increase, decrease, yes, indeed, quite susceptible growth. There are different shades for different companies, but bottom line, this is a quarter and we are striving to fulfill what we already have promised you for the year, having a stable growth. That is, the curve should be in one direction only. We also have prepared key indicators by companies, the balance indicators for the different companies within the consolidation, which you may see here in the presentation, which I already mentioned will be published. Maybe it's interesting focusing our attention on revenue income by markets. The graphics here show, for instance, that InkView Systems in the first quarter of this year has a 47% income on the US market. And it may be worth noting that Ontotext has a 57% of revenue from Great Britain. Sirma ITT has 84% from the United States market. It's also interesting to see the diagram where we can see that we are truly following our strategy for more active presence on the United States market. You can see the comparison for yourself. For the first quarter of 2015, from the States, we only had 11% of revenue, while for the year 2016, we already have 25%, which is practically double and more. And this is very, very briefly the financial and indices for the first quarter. Now we are moving on to the more interesting part, because finances is finances, but what really matters is for growth to be susceptible to have not just revenue, but also profit. But this is only done with the development of business for the group and for the individual companies. So the key things that we did after what we promised in the prospect for IPO is we established the company for the US, which is based in New York. And the idea of Sirma Group Inc. is that in this company, we should consolidate the marketing and sales efforts of the various companies within the group for the Northern American market. In other words, we are working also to achieve a strategy change so that we may sell our products and services on the States market in the States. And I may mention here what the change is about. For instance, until last year, we only tried for each company for itself to find its niche, its marketing positioning on the market in the States, while currently we are trying to develop a strategy where we are going to impose the brand of Sirma, the products of Sirma, the business verticals along which we are working without confusing people in the States with our quite complicated holding structure. We are Sirma. We work in our strategic business directions. We develop our technologies, and as a matter of fact, we are offering complex solutions such as the sphere of healthcare, manufacturing, government, public sector, etc., etc. The company will be key in terms of the strategy for growth of our group and also for the increased sales. And as I already mentioned, the key thing is to find better and closer synergy between the different businesses of ours within the group. We also embarked on very specific steps so that we could increase the sales for business solutions, Sirma enterprises in the States, in some of the companies. This is already bearing fruit, such as Sirma Solutions and InkView. We are about to embark on even more active actions with Ontotext and Sirma Enterprises, which is the new name for Sirma ITT. Sirma Group Inc., which is again the New York-based company, is managed by a board of directors, Tsvetan Alexiev, Yavor Jonathan, and Atanas Kyriakov. Yavor, who is one of the pioneers and establishers of this company, is being relocated to the States. He is going to be the operative manager for the company on the spot. By companies, some interesting things that may be mentioned until now. What's happening on the 24th of February, we registered Sirma ICS, which is an abbreviation for Sirma Insurance Corp Services, with a capital of 50,000 leva. And then in June, it was enlarged to 300,000. It is 90% property of Sirma Solutions. Sirma ICS managed to take the niche of Sirma IG, which is the previous company where Sirma Solutions had a smaller share. This was a step that we embarked on so that we could deal away with problems with the shareholder structure at IG and also the current management, which practically led to a reputation problem. So we have a new company with a new face and a much stronger product, with much more customers as compared to the previous company, and much clearer, more concise business idea, business plan, mission and vision, which we hope is going to dominate increasingly more on the market, that is the insurance market in this country, in the next few years. And we are not going to limit ourselves to the Bulgarian market alone either. We created a new and very interesting startup company, which is Sirma Medical Systems. The background of this company is a very bright and convincing illustration of the innovative culture and the entrepreneurial spirit that we have built and adopted all these years in Sirma. The story is the following. One of the long-term employees of Sirma, who is also a shareholder with Sirma Solutions, and also he maybe has some shares with Sirma Group Holding, I'm not too sure about that. But in any case, he's one of the very experienced programmers for our company. Years ago, he got diabetes, and in order to take proper care, continuous care of his ailment, he managed to create this Android application where he would constantly observe what is the level of his blood glucose and what he has eaten and how his diet impacts his insulin, and also he would have alerts for any risky conditions and so on. It turned out that this Android application turned to be #1 in Google Play. That is in the Android app market. And it transpired that as we were talking with the creator of this most useful application, we decided to invest in a much larger idea, which is practically based on what Rosin, that is the name of our diabetic colleague, what Rosin has created. Of course, we wanted to have a package decision, a package solution for, and apart from the Android, it is also an iOS and other platforms, and principally speaking, the technology behind it may be applied so that one may observe any chronic ailments and conditions, and the business plan includes not just selling to end customers, but also selling to large clinics, hospitals, certification of the product, etc. So we have very interesting plans for the business development of this company. Currently, what we managed to was that we hired a marketing agency which starts helping us, even with increased sales for whatever we have available already, and to know also that we could adopt a very adequate marketing strategy. Some of the facts about this product. The key product here is called Diabetes M. We have more than 200,000 downloads from Google Play and 50,000 active ongoing users. The good thing about this company, the software that it creates, is that indeed it is something most useful, even vital for certain people, and it is in harmony with one of the strategic verticals along which we develop ourselves, that is healthcare. The leading companies in Sirma are Sirma Solutions, which for the first quarter has managed almost 4.5 million revenue. Onto Sirma USA, where we have managed almost 900,000. Engview, Sirma Business Consulting in Daticum with again roughly 500,000. Sirma Enterprises with 417,000 and Ontotext with 200,000. That is Ontotext in the States. What are the key things that we're doing so that we may further grow in these key companies? The strategy, for instance, for Sirma Solutions, which once again I need to reiterate the fact that it is the largest company within the group, the family, and one of the largest system integrators in Bulgaria. The strategic aims of Sirma Solutions is to increase the revenue from sales from 15 up to 20 million for the year 2016. It is quite an ambitious task, and we realize this, including with all efforts that we invest into the larger, stronger activity on the American market there. We have the Vice President of Sales, who is already working. We have to have quite a few agents, project managers, and we have quite a few active leads. It is quite plain visible that for the first quarter we have a 93% increase, which is quite remarkable. Nevertheless, the task is quite difficult. We are working so that we may fulfill this growth. For the time being, the only problems that we encounter are related to the public sector, with the plans that we have in the public sector, which are also quite ambitious. And the problem is that simply in Bulgaria we don't have too many orders, that is public procurement. In any case, we started working on projects which we do hope we shall manage to land in the public sphere on the European level, which of course will be my enjoyable task to report about next time that we meet over the webinar. We have increased sales on the American market. We constantly hire people and we increase the number of staff. In Bulgaria, we are trying to increase the sales on the European market as well, and we manage quite well, so that we may also have a separate company for AWACS, and that is the platform for client loyalty, which once again we are trying to sell all over the world, and we manage quite well globally. In the government and public sector, yes, we managed a few tenders, such as the Ministry of Education. Of course, these are relatively small orders, but we expect the government in the second half of this year to manage large projects so that we may try, and I hope successfully, to win. Ontotext, the plans for the year are to increase revenue from 3.2 up to 4 million euro for the year, that is. The results for the first quarter until present date are not as good as we expected, but as a matter of fact, we have quite encouraging leads and signals. This is all due to the fact that the sales cycle is quite slow for the particular products of this company. But in any case, the company is quite strongly motivated to achieve its aims, and I believe that here, one of the key things that we need to mention is that we started and implemented quite a successful strategy for digital marketing very actively at Ontotext. They're already starting with the webinars and marketing content. And as a matter of fact, in the first half of this year, this led to leads which equal the leads for the entire previous year, 2015. And I sincerely hope that we shall manage to convert these leads towards sales very successfully. We also launched the new version of GraphDB. And here, the other important thing that we need to mention is that with Ontotext we managed to build a few strategic partnerships, amongst which one of the most important ones where we struck a partnership so that we may integrate technological solutions. The other interesting thing is that we started, that is, we built a strategy for channel partners. And we are concluding partnership contracts with the suppliers of software, such as for the printing industry, and most probably the last but not least important thing is where we're trying to focus our efforts is global suppliers of databases. With the paid company information, such as DNB, BVD, and Factiva. Engview, now Engview is developing very well indeed this year. Engview participated in the largest global show for the packaging industry, Drupa 2016, and we had a very good presentation there where I would say that we achieved brilliant success because we managed, for instance, to conclude a partnership with Aristo, one of the key players on this market. We also have quite a few new distributors who got out of Drupa. That is a result to at Drupa. We showed some of our new products such as Engview Package Designer Suits for Mac, which was met with enormous enthusiasm, and in the second half of the year we shall actively sell our software for Mac too. We also managed to carry out quite a few interesting surveys for the new business ideas to enlarge the product portfolio of Engview. So for Engview, I would say that we are not mildly but wildly optimistic for the remainder of this year, and I believe that they are going to not just realize but over-realize the plan for the year. Daticom. Now, one of the key events for Daticom is firstly the fact that we finalized successfully this huge system integration project at the University Hospital in Panegyurista. We also started partnership with one of the leading Microsoft ERP implementers for Bulgaria so that we could launch an innovative SaaS service for the business. And also we launched a partnership with Novotel, which is part of the Deutsche Telekom group, so that we could improve the Daticom cloud infrastructure. And also, it is very important indeed to note that Daticom is a data center, and this data center offers co-location and also cloud infrastructure and services. This is, as a matter of fact, the chance for companies to have service in controlled environments. But in any case, we're very pleased with the fact that we managed to develop and achieve huge growth in the offer of our cloud services. The added value there is immense, and the capacity in terms of area and energy expanded is much less, yet the business is very effective indeed, very profitable, and this is where we are concentrating our efforts in terms of Datacom, who is also the leader already in terms of provision of these services on the Bulgarian market. At the same time, though, Datacom has lots of clients from Western Europe and the US. Sirma ITT, the company, is already called Sirma Enterprise Systems. Now, this change of name has to do with the fact that we enter the United States market simply because there is a huge ITT company working already in the States in the sector of arms productions. Now, obviously, we couldn't possibly double the name because this would have not too good implications. In any case, in Enterprise Systems most aptly describes what we're trying to do in the company. These are complicated business systems which allow for an effective management of the business of large corporations. Very good partnership and collaboration so that we could manage documents, processes, and so on. The company achieved wonderful growth of revenue for the first quarter of this year. We are in the process of looking for a trader in the States. This trader shall be located with a new company already mentioned in the one that's seated in New York. And one of the main events is that in terms of conservation space is a system that we developed for the National Art Gallery, the Metropolitan Museum of the States in New York. And as a matter of fact, this was a software produced, made to order. That is, we won a tender so that we could get this job, but the software, with the support of these museums, shall be an independent business, which again will belong to Sirma Enterprises. In this platform for collaboration between restorers of working for various museums, we could include more and more museums all over the world, and this is a business niche which is yet underdeveloped, and it turns out that globally speaking we can be the absolute leaders, and we shall be, God willing. The other key product, which is practically ready and it will soon be actively marketed and sold in the States, is the system for quality management and control. Here, we ought to mention the fact that currently we are transiting from ISO 2001 to 2000. The new one is 2001-915, so we are one of the pioneers that have a software solution ready for this new standard. The potential clients of our software are all production units throughout the United States of America, so I hope that there we shall have a wonderful position, because we're right place, right time, right transition period between the two standards. We simply caught it on time, and I do hope that we shall be lucky enough to land this market presence adequate to what we have already invested. Sirma Business Consulting. Some of the key events there. As a matter of fact, the certification. It would be strange to say that the certification is a key event, but with Sirma Business Consulting, we certified ourselves for FlexCube 12, and this is very important for our company business, because I believe that we are amongst the top 3 companies in the world that are certified to implement the new version of Oracle core business. No, core bank system FlexCube, and we do hope that this will position us very well with the new projects throughout Europe, where the banks are continuously migrating towards the new versions of the core bank system. Traditionally strong market for Sirma Business Consulting are the Caribbean states, and we are also launching quite a large project in Bulgaria. We have quite a strong leads also in the part for FlexCube implementation. We certified the company along the other important standards such as ISO 2007, 2015. The company is also working to build new partnerships with companies in various business spheres. We started to actively increase the staff of Sirma Business Consulting. And I would say that for the first time for quite a while, we are very actively hiring. Part of the company's strategy is to acquire companies with similar activities on the European market. I would say that it is predominantly on the Balkan Peninsula, but generally speaking, we are trying to look out for the fintech sector companies throughout Europe. We need these companies firstly so that we may offer a truly full package solution for a given bank, that is the entire package of products that a bank might eventually require, be it on the Balkan Peninsula or in Bulgaria, all throughout Europe. And the other important thing that I would like to mention is that the company should grow in terms of revenue, because it is very important indeed so that we can win bigger projects. It must be financially competitive with more personnel, with the best possible resources, both human and financial. And last but not least, we wish to acquire companies from other countries so that we may more easily enter the respective market. The strategy. Our growth strategy is something that I have already mentioned before in our previous webinars. In any case, our general strategy is along the lines of growing as a group, as a family, and we're concentrated on growth of revenue, such as most IT companies. That is to have a larger market share. When a company is making more money, it can land bigger project, more interesting ones. And we believe that obviously this would be good for everyone. So this is our plan, most simplistically speaking, to enter into the radar of the serious players in Europe and the States and reach a revenue of at least $100 million in the next 5 to 7 years. Currently, our strategy is to strongly pronounce our presence in the States. This is the main focus where we are trying to expand. And around 2021, 2022, we wish to have a large IP global exchange. In Bulgaria, the IT market dollars. Our customers in Bulgaria are more than 30 in the banking sphere, more than 80 in the healthcare sphere, more than 27 amongst the government and public institutions, and more than 100 large corporate clients. Nevertheless, We have offices in Sofia, Russe, Kazanlak, Plovdiv, Varna. These are big Bulgarian cities, and we are in the process of building our offices at different destinations apart from these. So nevertheless, the market in Bulgaria is quite small. We are aware of the fact that it is quite difficult, quite problematic, simply because the business climate in Bulgaria is quite peculiar, and also the decision-making process is quite tardy. The biggest clients in Bulgaria are the public sector and the financial sector. But in the financial sector, we are already one of the leaders. But the IT companies working in Bulgaria are strongly dependent on the public sector, which on the other hand is quite unpredictable since there is no regularity of demand for something that must be done and money spent by the state. There is no strong IT strategy with an allocated budget that governments would have adhered to. So the risks are obviously quite palpable. Still, we need to stay strongly positioned on the Bulgarian market, and for this reason our focus is mostly the market in the States. Because the USA market, why? Because Sirma started from the Northern American market. We started our activity in the year 1992 by launching projects in Canada and then immediately in the US. And it was only in the year 2000 that we started with the first shy steps in Bulgaria and Europe. Everything that we have learned about how to build software and software products we learned in the States. It is much easier for us to do business there because the rules are much clearer and decisions are very swift, and to us all this is quite a good strategic focus for a market worth $745 billion. Now, the companies within the Sirma Group are already working actively on the American market. On the next slide, you can see the data. Who sells how much and where out of the key companies of the group. The share of Sirma Group Holding for the first quarter of 2016 is 25% up. You can see towards the same period last year it was 11%, so it's more than double again. Our entire philosophy and company culture has to do with innovation, finding good new technical ideas and solutions. This is practically part of our business model, and we're showing it with the last developments of ours within Sirma. As I already mentioned, Sirma Medical Systems with the product Diabetes M is something really worth noting for its innovativeness, and we're going to have yet more innovative products in the future for the healthcare system. We also have a very good success with the lab for artificial intelligence and artificial vision. We are working on a project which is still kept in secret about the sphere. It is indeed the sphere of computer vision. When we have some specific results, I shall be overjoyed to tell you about it. The new products, innovative ones for InkView, the web-based application for traders in the packaging industry, something that still hasn't been thought of by anyone throughout the world by our competitors. Also quite interesting development of our insurance industry platform. Sirma Business Consulting is working on new innovative projects. Loyalty is a very interesting product in the sphere of client loyalty, and each of the companies is constantly trying to perfect these key products within Sirma. These are GraphDB, EV package, Engview Smart Fit by Engview, Escart by Sirma Business Consulting, and so on. The list is long. These are the key points that I would like to clarify for you. Of course, we keep focusing on the strategic directions in which we're already working, and of course the business spheres and the financial results that we have as targets. And of course, I would be very happy if you have any questions, ask and we shall answer. Thank you very much indeed for this comprehensive presentation. We just need to say that the presentations have already been uploaded by Mr. Tanushev on the company side, so you can already find them in Bulgarian and English. You may place your questions at email and Skype. Sirma IR. We have 3 questions already, so let me start with the first one. It has to do with Sirma Solutions. Can you say why is the first quarter so strong in terms of types of services? That is, which is the strongest type of services sold? Well, once again, we managed quite well in the unit that has to do with the system integration. Relatively good projects, large ones about system integration. But now, what is really enjoyable is that we have increased revenue from services sold in the States. We have a very large project which is currently implemented in the States. In the pipeline, we have leads for a few more, which I hope shall be realized until the end of this year. And here we manage with this unit that has to do with European projects. Now, these are not EU projects, but simply projects for European companies. We also have some growth there. So all 3 of these units are developing very well. The only one that lags behind relatively is the public sector. But I did mention the reasons for this because of the environment, which is not conducive to large growth. There aren't too many tenders in this country for the time being. The second question has to do with the company office in the States. This new office, is it already operative? Is it active? You said that you have relocated some managers there. Have they started work? Yes. Practically, they started work already. The entire administrative activities have been completed, and currently we are working to choose a consultancy that is going to advise us about the marketing, better marketing of our products in the States, and for how to organize our sales process. There are already quite a few positions, vacancies open for the field traders, so this is happening even as we speak here, and the office is fully operational. And the third question that we have for the time being has to do with onto-text. To what extent will Brexit have any effect on a company that had quite a few British customers, or will there be any effect at all? Now, the Brexit question, I believe that no one is going to know and predict correctly what the effect will be, if any. I do not think that there will be any immediate impact, negatively speaking, in terms of consequences for our business there, because bottom line, the focus on onto-text is also on the North American market. That's where our efforts have been concentrated for quite a while now, so that we may develop our business there. The most interesting thing to be noted is that we're working on a strategy to reposition. That is not reposition, but to clarify and streamline our strategy so that the company, instead of confusing the American market, because Americans, at least our observations are such, is that Americans wish to have everything simply put, everything processed, instead of having many products and many business directions for a single company. So for Ontotex, we have a GraphDB key product already. Around it, we have quite a few different solutions on different verticals, of course. But what we're doing is that we are marketing GraphDB throughout the globe, and indeed we have lots of clients. And the big revenue is indeed from England, but this is mostly about older contracts with BBC, Euromoney, and also licenses which have already been concluded. They are in euro, not in GBP. But as a matter of fact, for GraphDB, we have clients in Asia, North America, South America, throughout the world. Even Korea, the Korean telecom bought some licenses for GraphDB. Now, beats me why they bought them, but they bought them. They just wish to have them, just in case. And another question. Sirma already has a couple of offices, actually already 3. But the question is, why? Why do you have so many offices, and how will they interact with each other so that you may have increased sales in the States? Now, the reason, of course, is historical. Each company of our family, of our group, that was already working in the North American market, or they already had some marketing and sales group existing and functioning so that it could seek leads and contracts, so on. The strategy, such as, like the office of Sirma Solutions, it is not a marketing and sales office any longer. It is an IT consultancy. The office in New York of Sirma Group is going to synchronize the sales and marketing efforts of various companies. As I already told you, we shall gradually try to impose a single brand in the States. It won't be Sirma Solutions and then Ontotext and then InkView. Instead, we are gradually, smoothly moving towards the Sirma brand as a single umbrella brand in the States. But it can't happen with a magic wand. We can't say, there we go, and we are going to close all the existing offices and reorganize everything. There are so many reasons why we are keeping the structure as it is, but we have already come up with developed good and effective processes so that we may move everything into a single channel so that we can work synergically between the different offices. For instance, the States office has already invested some money for marketing. So we are centralizing our work. This is a mirror structure of the Sirma Group Holding, yet on the American market. The next question has to do to some extent with this. What kind of marketing strategy have you planned to gain new clients in North America? Is it through webinars and seminars, or are there some more specific marketing strategies? I don't know why. Would it be just webinars? Obviously not. The webinars was simply an example for the extended marketing strategy of Ontotext. Ontotext, we have to bear in mind the fact that Ontotext is a GraphDB-oriented company, and GraphDB is a database. It is non-relative database, new generation, and so on. It's a tool which must be recognized, must be liked and adopted by software developers. It's simply that webinars are one of the instruments, one of the most used instruments to popularize, to promulgate your technology, because we need to not simply have various verticals such as the consultancy business, the Ontotext, such as pharmaceutical industry or sometimes national heritage in the cultural sphere. GraphDB must be popular. That's why we are simply using different channels to disseminate information in different shades of the strategy, which is otherwise a single and harmonized one, whether it is selling GraphDB or some consultancy projects to different clients. In any case, for all our products and companies and verticals, we are using very different marketing approaches, such as Google advertising, so that you may popularize your products and services through all kinds of partnerships, through direct sales from salesmen. And of course, popularization of technologies such as the OntoText webinars, or LinkedIn or Facebook ads. And indeed, for the different products, for the different business directions, we are applying different tools in terms of marketing. So the approaches do differ, and this is only good and tailor-made. This again is part of the strategy for each of the products by companies, by verticals. There is no unification, none. You couldn't possibly say that you're taking a ready-made solution and you offer this to every man and his dog. No, you have, for instance, Google only, but instead we have sales agents. And we have two types, hunters and farmers. The hunters have the cold leads and cold calling, obviously, while the farmers are already trying to have a good crop from whatever has been gathered by the hunters. And maybe the last question that we have here is the previous webinar for the results for the year 2015. You mentioned that the entire team of the OntoText states has left. That's why you had worse results. Is this a solved problem? And what were the reasons for all of them to leave, your entire US team? Well, this problem has not been solved entirely yet. In other words, we have some people in the States that we have sent from Bulgaria, and they are managing quite well, but not well enough. In other words, new salesmen for OntoText, we are probably going to hire Sirma Group Inc., the new company. So for the time being, initially we're going to keep the OntoText office, but we still haven't streamlined our strategy entirely, whether we should transfer everything to Sirma Group Inc. or leave something with the independent office of OntoText. These are simply loads of plans, different companies, many things are happening. We are expanding dynamically, and this is still in the process of clarification. And also, this is valid of the new strategy for OntoText. To answer your question, no, it is not completely solved, this particular issue. And what was the second part of the question, please? What were the reasons for the people to leave? Ah, yeah, right. Now, maybe they were based on our mistakes. We have assessed our strategy for the time, and it was maybe wrong in some ways. In the States, we were trying to sell various products in different business verticals, and it was very confusing. Our messages were not clear. So the VIP of business development, no, the vice president of business development did not manage his targets. Obviously, we told him that things were not okay, and he left. When he had already left, we did not have a good solution. The whole idea of having an office where you have one key player or a couple of people, junior sales in the marketing, But the junior sales is good for nothing unless you have someone on top of him controlling his work. I've always said that it is a large risk to have a small office. That's why we're currently trying to set up this large business in New York, because at an office you must have some mutual replaceability. You must have enough staff and you must have good centralized control. The Autotext office, the States had no control. We drew all the moral from this fail, and then you have one of the key players for Sirma in the States. I hope that the office there will be much larger, and that's why we need to have an independent consultancy so that you may have a perfect organization of our sales process and at least have some backup between the different agents. So I do believe and hope that we should be working in a manner that would already avoid mistakes previously encountered. So we don't have any more questions. We have congratulations for your initiative from investors who are currently watching us. Thank you, sir, for being so responsive, for keeping with this tradition. All other questions and presentations have already been uploaded on our site. So if you have any questions, you may try with ir.com, the email or the Skype. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a nice evening. From me, and have a wonderful summer holiday. The next webinar will be after we have already returned from holiday for anyone who can take a holiday, unlike me. All the best to all of you.